Hey, and thanks for watching. This is the behind the scenes for Patrol 20, which is the patrol that I just recorded. So basically, I'm going to be showing you guys what I did before the patrol, during patrol, and then as well as editing after patrol. I'm just going to be covering all that sort of aspect in detail. I do recommend watching Patrol 20 first, just so that way you can kind of see the video and what it actually is of what I'm doing. Additionally, there is a really good video by Oxhorn, which is his behind-the-scenes video, which I personally recommend watching because he covers a lot of information. He does it very well. I did the best I can. However, his just kind of blew it out of the water for me, and really what kind of got me started into this whole YouTube thing. Also, I want to thank you guys for 400 subscribers. This was supposed to be a 200 subscriber special video because inside of the Discord I made a poll asking what you guys would like to see, and this one got rated at the top. However, with that being said, enjoy the video, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to either put them down below or join my Discord and ask me there. So this footage was taken around 6:25, 6:30 p.m. Normally I do start this early when it comes to patrol nights. Patrol starts at 7 for me since I'm in the East Coast. However, I like to take about an hour and a half beforehand. I like to start really preparing for patrol. Normally I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to be doing for patrol, and then really it's just setting it up. So by setting it up, I mean we're going to be getting the security footage, getting the actual character itself set up regarding the vehicles, getting them registered in CAD, as well as a few other things. So basically what I do is I just go ahead and launch my localhost server, and I go ahead and get inside of the localhost server, and I begin getting my character set up. After I get into the localhost server, which is just the server that I locally host on my computer, I only use it for this. I just start finding the area really that I want to start patrolling in. Once I have an area picked out, and it really just depends on where I want to do things or stuff like that. Once I have that picked out, then I'll begin creating the actual scenario or the scene for the security footage. And that's the first thing I do. So I get the character ready, I pick out what character I actually want to use, things like that. I also get the car ready, and then pretty much my whole goal is to get the subject character, the vehicle that he's using, as well as any kind of victim vehicle if applicable. And this process can really take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on what exactly I'm working on, and depending on how many of these I actually do. So again, this entire process is building up for the fact that I'm going to make security footage out of this. So for this specific case, I need both of the vehicles there because I'm making a security footage where the subject character is going to ride in on the bike and smash the white car with a hammer. So basically I need to make the bike, I need to make the character, and then I need to make the actual white car as well. And then pretty much I just get everything set up ready to record for the actual security footage itself. Hey guys, I'm currently editing the video that you're watching, so it's pretty weird, but I actually found out that I'm missing the footage from when I actually went ahead and created the camera inside a Rockstar editor when I created the security cameras. So I actually did do this before Patrol. I did it after recording it on the game and before editing it on Premiere Pro, but I'm just going to go ahead and actually recreate it, re-record it, and do the exact same thing because I am missing the footage for it. So basically, when I'm done recording it in-game, I'll go into Rockstar Editor, I completely close out of my game, and then I'll go in the Rockstar Editor. I'll click on Create New Project, and then I'll go down to the footage where I actually recorded it on. It'll be at the very top for me, but I did record this on January 17th. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, click Enter, then launch it. And then once it's launched, pretty much here's what's going to happen. So you saw me record the footage of him hitting the car and all that good stuff. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit here. I'm going to hit M as in Mary, and what that'll do is it'll create a marker. I'll click on Cameras, add a new free camera, and then I will just move it on sort of a location on the house where it makes sense to have a security camera. So I'll just put it right here, for example. And then I'm going to have him coming in from the street. Immediately once I set up that camera, I'm going to add an effect on it. So I'm going to add some kind of effect. My personal favorite is IL7, and I like to set it at 30%. And then pretty much once I add the effect on the first camera, it'll duplicate itself for the other cameras. So pretty much it'll come here, and then you'll see the effect, and then you'll see the camera change. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and move it to where he's just about to go out of frame. You can see he's just about to leave the frame. Add another marker, and then reposition the camera. And I believe for the editing, I put it right here, or somewhere right here. And then I'll skip ahead to where he's smashing the car with the hammer. Bam, 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 bam. Moving along. And then as he's about to leave, I'll change the camera again. And I'll hit M to add another marker. Click on Cameras, Edit Camera. And then I'll go ahead and move this right here. And I do this just before he actually leaves, just so that way they can see it. So, what I have now is some security footage, and then in the next clip, I'll show you how, or I guess past me, we'll show you how to edit it. But pretty much what we have now is him entering, hitting the car, then leaving, and then I'll just play it once just to show you guys what it actually looks like. I'm sorry for the weird kind of double entendre there, but the next clip will be actually showing you how to edit the footage that I just recorded. Okay, so right now we're in Premiere Pro. I apologize for any audio issues thus far. I've been having some issues with my microphone picking it up, but we're going to do our best here. So, pretty much right now what we have is I've opened up the security footage template that I use. I do this pretty frequently, so I made a template to make it a little bit easier on me. But the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and delete the video and audio files, and it just leaves this right here. This is the actual footage overlay, and then you have the time code, and then you have the camera number right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop my footage that I just took from the actual in-game. So there you go. And then the second thing I'm going to do is delete the A2 line right here, because that is the second audio line that comes from my microphone. So I don't need that. Okay. So starting from the beginning, I'm going to jump to the very beginning of the footage for when I want the security footage to actually start. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Then you can see where the camera changes. That's where I want it to start. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to make a cut, and then I'm going to do a ripple delete. After this, I'm going to go ahead and add a dip to black transition. What that'll do is that'll make the video fade in to black. So you can see how it fades in. If I, for example, disable this transition, it just starts. There's no dip to black. There's no fade in. So I kind of want it to fade in. So I'm going to go ahead and add a dip to black transition for that. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a constant gain transition to the audio. And what that'll do is that'll fade in the audio. So just to replay it, you can hear the audio immediately. But if I put a constant gain transition in, what that'll do is it'll just fade in the audio. You can hear it slowly fade in. Okay, so that's the very beginning of it. What I need to do next is just go ahead and skip all the way over until it changes the camera. You see the camera change right there at that frame. What I'm going to do then is I'm just going to go ahead and mark it with the little marking tool there. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to the other frame where it changes camera after this. And I'm actually going to do a small edit that I don't normally do here. So what I'm going to do is, you see where he goes to the top and smashes the car, and then he kind of like awkwardly hits in the air for a few seconds? I'm going to cut that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till he's done smashing.
That's what she said!
And then go to the front here. And before he smashes again, I'm going to do another cut. And then I'm going to wait till he's done smashing in the air. And then he actually kind of moves around to smash the other side of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that and move this audio transition over. And then, I'm sorry, the audio clip over. Then I'm going to put a constant power audio transition over. And what that does is the constant power audio transition kind of smooths out audio and hard cuts. So, just to give you an example, again, just listen to the audio here. You could hear that, right? You could hear it cut. But when I put the constant power over it, it's going to be a little bit smoother. See what I mean? But I don't mind the hard cut in the video there. That's completely fine. Normally, there are ways to smooth hard cuts in video. More specifically, there's a morph cut transition, there's a crossfade transition. But I'm not really necessarily worried about it for the security footage, so we're just going to move on with the hard cut in there. Normally, I don't do this, but it's just, I kind of wanted to get rid of that awkward space in the video where where he was swinging at nothing. But then we're going to go ahead and move it over again, and I'm going to do what I was doing last time. Get the frame where the camera changes. Sorry. Add another mark here. And then once the audio ends, or once the video ends, like right where it changes here, the frame before that, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then at the end here, I'm going to add a fade. And what a fade does, it's the opposite of a gain. So this gain over here fades in the audio. The fade will fade out the audio. But I'm going to add a fade, and then I'm going to add another dip to black transition there just to end it. Okay, I did go over that very quickly. So I do want to say, if I went a little bit too fast, I do apologize. But that's just pretty much how I do things, just regarding the security footage. Now, here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take these two, I'm going to stretch it out to the end of the video, just so that way it's the same size. And then I'm going to move my cursor over to the points that I made, wherever the clip changes. And then I'm going to adjust the camera selection right here accordingly. So here's what I mean. At the top here, it says Cam 08. So for example, this is Cam 04. As soon as it changes camera, it'll change the little selection there. You saw it changed to Cam 08 for a few seconds. Now, the numbers I can actually change on it, and I do change the numbers depending on if it's a residential address or a commercial address. What I mean is, for example, if there's like a commercial building, for example, a warehouse that I'm doing a security footage at, and it has multiple cameras, like it makes sense to have 10 security cameras around there, then I'll do up to 10. But for residential addresses like that, I'll probably keep it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So I'm going to change this number to 4, and then that's fine. And then Cam 04, I'm actually going to change that to number 2. And then for the first camera, I'm just going to leave that at 3. That's fine. But we're going to go ahead and move over to this audio point right here where it changes. Go one before that, and then keep that Cam 03 right there. So here's how it looks, and just keep your eye at the top right here. It'll change. So camera 03, camera 02, and then a change from camera 02, and then move this all the way over here, and then it'll change to camera 04 just before it ends. And that's kind of like an immersion thing where it just like changes from camera to camera to camera to camera. That just really just makes sense. And the only change that I'm actually doing here is I'm just changing the number at the top left here. Okay, so moving on from that, I do want to do 2 things. I want to add 2 separate audio effects. When he hits the car, I want the car alarm to go off. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. So pretty much I'm going to skip back to where he actually hits the car for the first time. And then I have a car alarm audio clip that I've already recorded previously that I'm just going to go ahead and plop right there, right where it starts. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and lower the volume, because if I play this at full volume right now, it is loud. So I'm going to lower the volume there, just so that way it's kind of bearable for your ears. Another thing I want to do, right at the spot where he hits it, I want to add a glass breaking effect, and I already have a glass breaking sound that I'm just going to go ahead and put down here. So we're going to go ahead and delete this to where it starts at the very top, and then I'm going to leave this at full volume. But so pretty much these two sound effects, what they do is they'll add the glass breaking, and then it'll also start the car alarm. Now for the car alarm, I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste it here, just to kind of extend the car alarm until the end of the video here. And where the hard cut is right here between the two car alarms, I'm going to go ahead and add another constant power transition so that way it smooths out the audio. Again, I'm really sorry if I'm moving too fast. But pretty much that's how it's going to do. So now whenever he hits it, the car alarm will start, and the glass will break. I'm actually going to go ahead and change the the volume of that down a little bit. And that's it. That is everything I needed to do, actually. I am going to go ahead and extend this out just to the end of the video. And then I'm going to go ahead and put another fade on it. Just so that way it fades out alongside the audio here. But other than that, we're done. That's the security footage. So I'll just go ahead and play it back for you guys one more time, just so that way you can see what it looks like. And that's it. So that's everything we needed to do for the security footage. Okay, so now we have the character created. I actually went ahead and recreated the scene. I have the vehicle here broken. We're in the actual SLRP game server, by the way. And also the stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is... I actually don't really show this in my videos anymore. I did it like at the very beginning, but just to save time, I kind of cut it out. I'm gonna make a 911 call. Now, one of the cool things about SLRP is that we always have active dispatch, which is great. So in order to make a 911 call, I'll type it in here, and then they'll pull me into a TeamSpeak channel, and I'll show you what that is.
911, what's your emergency?
Hey, some dude just, like, pulled up on my property, man, and, like, got out and, like, just started hitting my car with a hammer, and as soon as I got to the front door, he left. Like, he drove away.
Okay, so did you see the vehicle by any chance?
I just got to the front door and I saw him driving away. It was some kind of motorcycle, but I didn't see exactly what kind. I have the security footage, I just haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, if you could do that in the meanwhile, while I'll write everything down, that would be great.
I can't pull it up right now, because it takes a while to write to the hard drives, but I can have it in like 5-10 minutes. But like, if an officer shows up here, I'll have it for him by then. But I just can't pull it up right now, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Can you just tell me where you are, please?
Yeah, I live at 7328 at Mirror Park Drive. I live right across from the actual park itself.
You said 7328 Mirror Park Drive, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just to confirm information, there was a suspect. He drove by your house, left his vehicle, and started vandalizing your car. He left on a motorcycle, correct?
Yeah, he just pulled up on his motorcycle, and I heard my car alarm go off, and I went out, and then he drove off. He hit it with something, and like my front window and my driver's side window is completely broken, and like there's glass all over the floor now and stuff.
Okay, so are you hurt by any chance?
No, I'm okay. I didn't even see him. Or, I saw him driving away, but, like, I didn't get a good look at him. He just hit my car and left. I don't know why.
Okay, so the police on the way.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Have a nice day.
You as well. Okay, so we're just moving back out. The reason why I didn't want to give him the security footage was because I wanted to wait for the police to get here so that way I can just send it directly to them. But other than that, that was just a, I guess, normal 911 call. So nothing really much to say about that. I really like making the 911 calls just due to the fact that we always have active dispatch online. But I'm gonna wait here, and it'll be about 5 to 10 minutes before the police show up. So I'm just gonna chill out here, and then once they get here, I'll actually wave them down. But that'll be actually inside of the video when I wave them down and start speaking to them, stuff like that. But really, that's just kind of what I do to set up the scene. I just move the car in there, and then, you know, make it look like it's been vandalized and stuff like that. And normally at this point, I just make a report with the officers like I'm doing here, and then I begin filming the rest of the scenes. I normally do 2 to 3 scenes of patrol, normally spanning out between 2 to 3 characters, just depending on the scenario. Again, if you would like to watch this specific video, just go ahead and go to patrol number 20, Residential Vandalism, and I'll have a link for that in the description. But pretty much all I do now is after I set up the scenes, I just go ahead and continue sending the security footage and talking with the officers and pretty much doing what I need to do for patrol. And really, patrol can take anywhere from 1.5 to 3 hours, just depending on what I do, how long it takes for them to arrest me, stuff like that. But after patrol is when I normally just take a break and I go to sleep. And then after I go to sleep, the next day when I wake up, that's when I begin editing. So I'm going to go ahead and clip over to that. So this is the editing process. This is what I do the day after patrol, and I normally do it pretty early. For example, I think at the time this footage was taken, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So pretty early. And to be honest with you guys, the editing at the end is really tedious and boring. So the video ended up being around 20 minutes long. However, it took me 2.5 to 3 hours to actually edit the video. And obviously, if I sat there and went over the entire thing with you guys, it would be really boring and it wouldn't make for an entertaining video. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly explain what I did briefly. So what I do, my main objective for editing is to make sure that there are no long pauses in audio or video. And I don't mind doing any kind of hard cut or doing any kind of crossfade transition or anything similar to that to ensure that there are no long spaces. However, long spaces are my personal pet peeve. I do not like them. So that's my first objective, and I will go through the entire timeline, all of the audio, all of the video, just to ensure that there are no long spaces inside of there. And pretty much the first thing I do is I cut that out. And this can be very tedious, the reason being that the source footage might be 1.5 to 2 hours, so going through that is going to take some time. But another way that I make sure there are no long pauses is I record over the audio. So I have a very bad habit of being very quiet, especially like during pursuits or when I'm running away or anything like that. So in order to fill in that gap, I will record over myself in Premiere Pro. Okay, I've been here for about 10 minutes, so now it's time for Operation Get the Fuck Out. I'm gonna drop my hammer here, so I'm also gonna go ahead and take off my clothes, or not all of my clothes. I'm gonna take off my gloves, I'm gonna take off my hat, my helmet, sorry, and I'm gonna take off my jacket here. Whenever I do have to cut audio or video, I do try to add a transition. Now this is situational. Now, for example, if I'm cutting something left to right, then I won't add any kind of transition because of the clips being so close together. However, for example, if I'm all the way in the garage and I want to cut to me being in the parking lot, then I will do a small crossfade transition just so that way it doesn't look like a very hard cut. However, the only time I will use hard cuts is when I'm literally, for example, in a conversation, I need to cut something out of the conversation. That's when I'll use a hard cut. But with that being said, for the audio, I always put on a constant power transition over the game audio. And the reason being the same reason that I went over previously with the security camera footage, is just really to smooth it out. The thing is with audio, it is very tricky to get just right. Just the levels and how your voice interacts with the environment and everything like that. So the last thing I want to do is just have really loud or really bad audio. If I can, I'll spend more time on the audio than the video, just because audio is that important to get right. Also, I have multiple audio channels compared to video. And I'll just pretty much continue that same process for the entire editing, or the portion of editing of the video, is just to ensure that both the audio is right and the video is right. It syncs up. It's not too bright, it's not too loud, it's not too quiet. The audio doesn't have any hard cuts. It matches just fine. And that's pretty much the entire editing process in a nutshell. Okay, and so now I'm done editing the video. And according to the clock here, it took about an hour and 45 minutes, which is actually pretty good on time. A pretty average ballpark for me is around an hour of editing for every 10 minutes of video. This video is 20 minutes and 30 seconds long, so that's pretty on the ballpark range. Obviously, there are ways to make your editing more efficient, more quicker. However, you know, it really doesn't matter. I enjoy doing it, so... there's actually a few more things we need to do before this video is considered officially, like, done for uploading. And the first thing is, we're going to export the microphone audio that's coming out of my microphone here for the video. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to hit this S right here on the audio 2 line, and that solos the track. Then I'm going to hit Control M for export. What that'll do is it'll open up this export settings menu. I'm going to set the format to a waveform audio. After I export my audio as a WAV, I drag it into a program called CN Levelator by the Conversations Network. And what this program does is it pretty much just normalizes the audio and just makes it to where I'm not too loud or not too quiet. It pretty much just syncs it up. It's a really neat little program. It stopped being supported in 2012, however, it still works pretty well. And I'll go ahead and leave a link for that program in the description for those of you who are interested in that as well. Okay, now it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the file. The new file's been named Patrol 20 Output. And I will drag it over to the timeline right where my A2 is right there. And then it'll go ahead and load in. And pretty much that is the quote-unquote upgraded audio file. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce the sound here by -4 decibels. I always do this. And then, so pretty much, again, what this actual program does is it makes the audio to where it's not too loud or not too quiet. It levelates it. That's why it's called the Levelator. It's really neat, and it's a free program, and I highly recommend it. So I just went ahead and checked it. I did have to actually raise the volume by 1 decibel, but other than that, now it is set to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control M again to open up the export settings. I'm going to go to H.264, and then I'm going to go to YouTube 1080p HD. And then I do want to double check here where it says source. I want to make sure that says 60 frames per second. If it doesn't say 60 frames per second, it'll encode in 30 frames per second. And 30 frames is fine. In my opinion, 30 frames is fine for like anything not game related. But if it's like in-game related, 60 FPS really does make a difference, especially when you're watching at the like higher quality. But other than that, that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and click export right now, and what that'll do is it'll begin exporting the video. And whenever you encode videos in Premiere Pro, it takes up like 100% of your CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until that's done. It's a 20-minute video, so normally the encoding process takes about twice as long, so I'll probably be back in like 35 minutes to an hour. Okay, so I finished rendering the video, now it's uploading, but before I can publish it, I need a thumbnail. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into Rockstar Editor and then show you guys the process of how I actually create my thumbnails. Pretty much my main objective inside a Rockstar Editor is to actually find a clip that I would like to use for the thumbnail of the video, and I like to take something actually showing a person or the subject or something like that. For this one, I decided to use one where he's holding the hammer and he's smashing the car. I actually do change the picture I use about halfway into the thumbnail, but I'll tell you when I do that. But for now, I'm just looking for any kind of pretty good photo before I take it and bring it into Photoshop. Once in Photoshop, the first thing I do is I take the quick selection tool and I select the entire character, the entire person, and I make it into a different layer. And the reason why I do that is because I want the actual color contrast and brightness of the person to be different than the background. For example, I like to make the background quite a bit darker than the actual person, just so that way the person has more detail inside of the thumbnail. Additionally, once I make that new layer, the second thing I do is I put the words on there. So for the words, and Oxhorn kind of explains this a little bit better in his video, but pretty much the main premise of what I do is I try to pick a font I like, and I like to make sure that it's all the same size and that it's large enough for people to read, because inside of thumbnails, they're really, really small in comparison to the actual size of it. For example, this photo is 1920 by 1080. However, people are going to be seeing this in a much smaller resolution. Therefore, everything that I put on here, whether it be the person or the words, needs to be very big in order for people to see it effectively when they're scrolling through and looking at the videos. But once I have the words there, and that's pretty much all I decide to do. And then again, I do change the actual photo that I use halfway through. However, really, when it comes to taking photos, what I pretty much do regarding that is I just make sure that it's kind of square up and that I can fit the words on the screen alongside the actual picture. To be honest with you, the thumbnails, they're so tiny. This is 1920 by 1080, but I mean, like, on YouTube side, they're just so tiny that it really doesn't matter. Just like small, minute details like that. So for example, like if I wanted to, I could spend an extra time, I could do a stroke, and then I could do a invert layer, to kind of like smooth everything out. But really, it really doesn't matter. Not when the thumbnail's that small. If it was like a full-size thing that was going in the video, then yeah, that would make more sense. However, this is fine for now. And that's honestly just how the thumbnails are made. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this and upload it. But that was pretty much it. All I need to do on my end now is just, again, save this photo, and type everything in on YouTube and upload it. And then that's pretty much what I do for every single video that I do. That's it, guys. I want to thank you for stopping by. I know that this came out really, really late. I was meaning actually for this to be a 200 subscriber episode because you guys asked for it on the poll I put on the Discord. However, it's just the channel's blown up, like to the point where honestly, I just appreciate everyone's support. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions about anything that I'm doing, just go ahead and leave them in the comments below, or just ask me in my Discord. That's completely fine. I don't mind helping anyone out. But with that being said, again, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a good rest of your day. If you haven't already, please go ahead and watch Patrol number 20, because it was a pretty fun one to film. So, again, thank you guys. I'll see you later.